Welcome to our interview today. The topic is Nurturing Global Excellence, ISL's Multilingual Model and Culture of Care. In our conversation today, we explore how International School of London's approach nurtures students, families and staff to feel at home throughout their time at the school, and their onward education journey empowers students to maintain their linguistic heritage and prepares them to become confident, compassionate global citizens. And I'm delighted to welcome today the International School of London's Transitions Care team, some members of it anyway. And in particular, we have joining us today Claudine, Hakim, Head of Community Engagement, Transitions Care and Student Support. We have Zack, Ekert, Head of Multilingualism. And we have Timea, Virag, representing the school counsellors. Welcome, everyone. So let's start with you, Claudine, if we may, as the lead for the transition care, to explain how the different elements of ISL's approaches fit together and are embedded in the whole ethos of the school. So the opening question, I think, is ISL is recognised for its really strong international community and the family ethos, and it reflects a remarkable diversity. How did you achieve that across all these age ranges?
I'd say really that ISL's international community and family ethos comes from a mix of very intentional practices and genuinely welcoming attitude. One thing that really stands out for us is how naturally the school embraces diversity. We have families from all over the world, and many of them have moved multiple times. And instead of seeing that as a challenge, we actually see it as an opportunity. The school embraces different cultures, languages, and experiences in ways that feel organic. And there's that genuine belief that our differences make us our commonality. And that's what really connects us. So we do this through having a strategic and an intentional approach towards our transitions care program and welcoming families. There are very strong partnerships with the families. They feel involved. They're not just informed. We have a culture with our staff who are from all over the world. And our students are very much part of the experience in having their voice heard. So the warmth, the openness, the intentional choices, our centered ethos and curriculum would be sort of key. And I would argue that our renowned multilingual program is a key component in ensuring that this happens.
Brilliant. And I think that's a great segue into an introduction to Zack. You're the head of multilingualism. Can you tell us how your programme of 24 home languages builds that sense of belonging and academic success?
Thank you, Fiona. We're very, very proud of our multilingualism program because it values every student's home and native language. And we believe in equity first. So our promise is whoever you are, whatever your level of fluency, we find a teacher for your repertoire. So at the moment, we offer 24 home languages. But if we have a student coming in from a language that we've not taught before, it is my role to find that teacher for that student. And what that means, it means that every student's languages stay alive. You can still be you, developing your home language whilst abroad, whilst in London, whilst then discovering English at the same time, and maybe even a new language. So some students might be learning 3 languages or even 4 languages at the same time. And what is very special about this program is that it is grounded in the IB. It fulfills our duty to maintain those home languages while abroad, that is built into the IB system, where we have language A and language B, or sometimes called language and literature and language acquisition. It means that students get to own their identities, they feel a sense of belonging, but then they benefit from the academic challenge across languages. So, of course, we look at literature, poetry, novels, creative writing. We also look at grammar and spelling. But what is really important for us within our multilingual program, and that's why it's called multilingual, is that what you are learning in your home language links very carefully into other language subjects and also into other non-language subjects. And really, that's how we strengthen literacy, through that understanding and through that collaboration. And that is built into our culture. It is fully embedded into what we do.
And of course, that's very important for well-being, isn't it? For the children, for the whole school community. So that leads us nicely on to you, Timea. If you can just give us an understanding of the importance of well-being, how do you make sure your students feel happy, supported and settled, and especially when they're adjusting to a new country or school environment?
Ultimately, we want everyone to be happy. We are like a village, like a global village. Imagine that. And don't they say that it takes a whole village to raise a child? So for us, I think that would be the same value and motto. However, I think we often, and many schools, overlook the fact that students, how can they be happy if they don't have the language to explain what is going on for them? And in the middle of this confusing place where they're moving from maybe another country, another school, and they maybe speak three languages, and maybe they call two languages their home language, how could they define, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling confused? And there is always a sense of loss. And so our role, example, my middle school counselor role allows me to give students the space to be open to conversations around their story, someone who can listen to their story, someone who can listen to that loss of friendship, loss of familiarity with the country that they maybe lived before, or the friends they left behind, or the family members, or a pet. And so at ISL, we really make sure that from the process of admission all the way through student support and also pastoral support, we work together in collaboration and with our own intersectionality. And this is maybe a heavy word to use here, but that means we are aware of our cultural values, our racial background, our own identities, and that hopefully leads us all together as a team to a more nurturing space where students feel they belong, and they could also learn, how do I learn about my own identity and how can I develop into a fully self-aware person who feels that I am becoming, and whatever that becoming means. And that's where I'm going to leave it and pass it back to you.
I would like can you just give us a little explanation about arrivers, stayers and leavers? Because it's not just about welcoming new students, is it? And I know those terms crop up. I think parents might find that helpful if you could just
Yes,
explain
thank
that.
you for taking me back to that. And what is important, sorry about the sound, you have to really remember that the transition, the positive transitions care is really embedded in the cycle of recognizing, are you an arrival? Are you a stayer? Are you a leaver? And we really give that platform the recognition. And I think you already used it before, raising that awareness. What is your status? And then we work with that together as a team. And from the very beginning, the students arrive, they receive that extra nurturing support, and also the families, because we offer different workshops, for example, like TCK, which is third culture kids or cross cultural kids. So we are empowering everyone in this community to make sure that they feel they have all the tools to find a way to belonging.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful. So let's move on now to innovation, because as a school, you've been working on this ethos for a long time. I think it's about 15 years, but there's a lot of innovation you're still doing. So let's hear a bit about that if you can. Maybe each of you pick something that you're particularly proud of. So can we start with you, Claudine?
Our innovation really starts with the strong foundation of being honorary members of the Safe Passage Across Networks organization, SPAN, because that's the bedrock, that's the foundation. And why does this matter? It matters because SPAN is internationally recognized for its expertise in positive transitions care and attachment security with mobility support. And having access to experts in the field, their research, and engaging with others with good practice gives us that foundation. And looking at Doug Ota's research on how schools are an attachment figure for children, this really empowers us to take on the responsibility of constantly reviewing our practices and seeing what can we do to support our community. One of the things that I'd like to focus on is, for example, the acculturation model that we've put in place. This brings to life ISL's support model for supporting families throughout their journey that Timea mentioned earlier. It's even from the moment of pre-arrival, before they even arrive at the school, we make connection with them. We explain our routines, our expectations, and this reduces anxiety and builds the trust between us and our community. Having our dedicated transitions care team with Zack and Timea in it as well, and the influence of the work that we've had from Doug, has been very helpful to us in developing the various programs. The latest one has been a Life in London acculturation program that we've done for our parents, where we engage with them in helping them better understand life in the UK. And the idea isn't that they need to assimilate. The idea is our goal is for them to embrace their own culture while they engage in the UK.
Excellent. A very interesting term, one I hadn't come across before. So, can we hand over to you, Zach? What's your
Yes. So,
innovative
carrying on the theme,
achievement?
how do we bring how do we bring the parents into school life, and how do we get them to feel that they belong within the school? So we have a very prominent PTA, but what we found was that some parents who maybe found their English was not quite as strong found it a bit more difficult to take part in those different events. So what we have been doing for the past 3 years, at least with me, is we have been offering English classes to parents. And those groups have really become extremely popular. So we now have two groups, and they are attended by between 10 and up to 20 parents weekly for each group. So I can see up to 40 parents every week. We've got one for beginners, one for advanced, and they are, simply put, a very cozy community where, of course, we are developing English, but that is not really the only purpose of those classes. It is bringing those parents into the community, creating that sense of belonging, and also creating new friendships. And quite often, what's really, really powerful about those classes is that you'll have friendship across different cultural groups. So it really is bringing in that internationalism that we love and we cherish. And it also means that parents have a greater understanding of the local culture and of the curriculum that their children are learning. So that kind of provides a complete circle, a complete loop of understanding. And it's been very, very positive.
Sounds wonderful, and lots of new friendships, no doubt, as well. Thank you. Now, Tamia, what's your thoughts on innovation?
Well, number one is like imagine the whole school year. And so from the very start, when we have students coming and joining us, all the way through when they're becoming stayers until the end, they didn't necessarily become leavers, but we do have the cycle of students who are leaving, as we are a very transient school, and this is what we also celebrate. What is important that students are given the space, beside parents as well, to, as I said at the beginning, share their stories. So imagine like a check-in. Students right at the beginning come together throughout the different grades, and we hold space for each and every one of them. Regardless of their language ability, they have this space to be aware of their status. I arrived, where do I come from? What is my story? How many times have I moved in my life? if I could take a picture of the faces of the students when they have the opportunity to share, to be heard, to be seen, it's the most empowering, like picturistic capturing of that feeling. And then so throughout the year, students have the opportunity to check in one to one. If we have students who really need the whole yearly support, then we do small group sessions. And then it's all about, I'm not saying holding the hands, but it's more like nurturing their roots, because that's where we could really see the benefits of how someone could grow into a strongly aware person of their own identity. And this is an important age where they can learn about who they want to become and how they want to become. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good example of this sense of belonging and the sense of home and place, which is so important. Thank you very much. So, over to you again, I think, Claudine. What do you think other schools can learn from ISL's approach?
I genuinely believe that every relocation, every move begins with the need to belong. And we've used that word a lot today, but that is key to the whole sort of ethos of feeling connected to your community. And if you feel connected and if you feel that you belong, that's when you can learn and that's when you can thrive in whatever you want to do. And even for our staff, we've spoken a lot today about the families and the children, but our program also entails the well-being of our staff. And, in our, at the heart of our philosophy is this importance of looking after our community. And personalization, I would say, is central to how we work. No two kids are the same, no two families are the same. Ensuring that we understand their needs and working, side by side with them together to thrive through their journey. As Timea mentioned earlier, we work with the families from before they arrive until they leave, and then they return as alumni. So they're always part of our community and part of our family. That would be, I would say, key to having it part of your DNA and part of something that is intentional and planned intentionally in your schools.
Excellent, right. Thank you very much. So that leads me on to a topic that we briefly mentioned, this sense of global citizenship, and you talked about it in line with the IB curriculum. So perhaps over to you then, Zack. How do you think students learn to value these different cultures and become thoughtful, globally minded young people and go on to succeed and thrive in their later life in higher education or jobs of the future?
Well, what I would say is, we've talked a lot about belonging, but really that belonging sits in a whole system that we have built at ISL. Together with the academic rigor of the IB, that combined with that sense of belonging that students have, actually what it does is it allows them to become internationally mobile, of course, but then looking to the future, it means our students become internationally mobile, competent leaders. And that's really what it is about. We are providing all of these skills for the future so that our students have that confidence and the background knowledge to become leaders and enjoy the benefits of leadership across many other cultures, because they really, the word is, they have that sense of empathy that's been built through transitions and through the curriculum. They have empathy through multilingualism and through multiculturalism. They have that, what's the word, the emotional intelligence, that awareness and engagement with other cultures. And, the usefulness of that, I mean, it goes through into future study, it goes into business, it goes into enterprise, and in every single aspect of life. And that's really what I think we want to build at the end point when our students, when they do eventually leave, at whatever point that might be, they really do become global citizens.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's wonderful, because all those sorts of things are mentioned so much in relation to education and schoolings, and something parents are looking for, and certainly employers are wanting to know that they're being prepared for the future. So thank you. That was a really enlightening. So I think it's time to wrap up. The time has flown. So let's have a little bit more about excellence in education. We've been thrilled that ISL, International School of London, has won many of our awards at Relocate Global and Think Global People. And of course, only in 2025, the Excellence in Education Award. I wouldn't have thought you could have done any better, but you really excelled and pushed the boat out. So perhaps you'd like to mention something about that, Claudine, and how you got to that level.
Thank you, Fiona, and thank you for the opportunity for giving us this platform to share and also to thrive. I mean, what we've found is each time we've gone through the process of even applying for the, for the awards, it's forced us to stop and reflect on our work. It's encouraged us to review our practices and to learn. We're constantly learning. We've been doing this for over a decade, and there's so much more to do. But Rome wasn't built in a day. And as long as each time we look at developing one element of the school better and stronger, that's what keeps us going. You don't climb a mountain in one go, and each step takes us to the peak. And I would say that if you're passionate about what you do, and if you have a team of people, I'm blessed with the wonderful team we have at ISL. I'd say collaboration, working with your team, and having everyone's buy-in on why it's important to look after our community. That just is the recipe to success.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much for sharing so much today. And I'd also mention that Doug Ota, who you mentioned, the founder and CEO of SPAN, is joining us in a video that people can also find more insight. So thank you very much, all of you, for joining us today. We've been speaking to Claudine Hakim, Zack, Ekert, and Timea Virag, all from the International School of London, known as ISL. You can find their bios on our end slides, together with details of admissions to International School of London. So please check those out. I'm Fiona Murchie, the Managing Editor of Relocate Global and Think Global People. You'll find lots of resources on our two websites, thinkglobalpeople.com and relocateglobal.com. So do enjoy the resources in our International Education and Schools Fair, held online in November and March each year. Plenty of digital magazines, newsletters and content, and plenty of articles to help you with your education choices, as well as information about global mobility and global leadership. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Goodbye.